You are enrolled with us, Maheshwari. Pimal, are you also enrolled?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So we've got Pugalia also. Pugalia, huh? That's the way I need to refer to your name, right? Fine. So you are enrolled for the IELTS exam. Okay, so the others will keep joining. Let me just share with you all what all we'll be doing. So we'll be correcting your sentence, Maheshwari. You'll be correcting it after some time for us. Okay? So the sentence was wrong. The second time also it was wrong. This is what we are going to learn today. But I would really appreciate it if you could correct the sentence yourself after learning about the past tense today. Right, Maheshwari? Do you all have your notebooks with you? The pens, pencils, notebooks to note down few things?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Great. So, please note down a sentence. We are going to, and keep yourself on mute if you've got some background noise. Shavni, let me put you. So just note down a sentence and don't correct it now. We are going to correct it a little later on. Earlier, many doesn't know. Many doesn't know about homeopathy. This is the sentence. Second sentence, now people came to know about it. So we'll get back to these two sentences given by one of you a little later. So what is it that we're...
Excuse me, can you repeat the first one, ma'am? I couldn't hear it.
Definitely, it was a sentence given by one of you only. Earlier, many doesn't know. About homeopathy. You know, the past tense is extremely important for us. Of course, all the tenses are important, but the past tense becomes all the more important if you are a working professional or you are just preparing for the competitive exams. Imagine as a working professional, you need to talk about the past experience with a client, with a customer, or you have to report about certain events or incidents to your seniors. And then there are times when you make the presentations, like when you give the presentations, then how do you start the presentation? Initially, you come up with an anecdote, a short story about something related to that topic, or it could be something different, just to attract everybody's attention. It turns out to be more of a thing to hook everyone's attention. So if the tense is not correct, you'll be conscious and people will also notice it. So it is extremely important when it comes to the IELTS exam. So in the IELTS exam, especially the IELTS academic students have to write the report about the charts, the pie charts, etc. given to them. So they should be very clear about the tense. Most of the students lose their points in that grammatical range and accuracy because of this, because of the past tense. So we're going to learn how to use it correctly. Even the IELTS general training students too have to write letters and they have to talk about something that happened in the past and how the things are in the present. A lot of comparison is done. So the past and the present tenses need to be correct. And of course, how you refer to the future time. Last week, we had a webinar on the present tense, and today we have it on the past tenses. You can ask me all your doubts, wherever you feel that you have a doubt, you have some questions, or towards the end of the webinar, you can ask me all your questions, right? Otherwise, in between, you can stop me wherever you feel there's a doubt in your mind. So we've got more students who joined now, good few more. Welcome everyone to this webinar. So what
Good
is
evening,
it?
ma'am.
Good evening. So what is it that we're going to cover today? The past tense, mainly there are three tenses: the past, the present, and the future. All have their variants, 4 variants of each. So what are the 4 variants of the past tense? Can anyone tell me?
Ma'am, simple past,
Mhm.
past perfect,
Okay.
Past
Past
continuous,
continue.
past continuous, and
past
past
perfect
perfect
continuous.
continuous.
All right. Very good. So we have simple past, past continuous or progressive, then past perfect and past perfect continuous tense. These four are there. So we'll understand the difference between the four, where to use which one. We all are non-native speakers of English. So there are times when we tend to use the wrong tense. Where the past perfect is to be used, we start using the simple past. Where simple past should be used, we start using present perfect over there. So we'll understand this difference today. Then the common mistakes made while using the past tense. Common mistakes. What could be the common mistakes? Can anyone tell me, please? What are the common mistakes? Or you feel you've realized yourself, oh, I think this is wrong. I make this mistake. So what are the common mistakes according to you we all make?
Working.
Sorry? Could you repeat, please? One of you said something.
We can't use correct past tense. Actually, we can't use sentence.
All right. So one mistake is you use the wrong tense. As I told you, where
Yeah.
the simple past is to be used, you use past perfect, or where past perfect is to be used, you use simple. All right. Then what other mistake do we make?
Ma'am, actually, as we
I'm
all
using two past tense words in the same sentences, like I did not saw. Like
Yes, yes. So in the negative sentences, right? Today we are going to learn how the past tense is used in the questions and negatives. So in the negative sentences, for example, I did not saw. So that is wrong. So how do we structure the negative sentences in the past? Any other area where you feel, yes, we go wrong? Speak, keep yourself on mute. All of you, please unmute yourself when you have to speak. Yes. Have you heard somebody using such words like, I put it on the table? She taught us last year. Have you heard
yeah,
any?
ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Sometimes in the routine actions, we used to use the past tense, but we don't use the correct past tense in those sentences.
You don't use the correct form of the verb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, ma'am.
Wrong verb. Or we use the wrong verb at times, or we use the wrong form of the verb. Like there's no form. You use the verb in the wrong way. So why do we use it that way? Because we do not understand that there are regular verbs and then there are irregular verbs. Let me put one of you on mute. I'm not able to. I'll ask my co-host to put Yash Latikar on mute, please. Okay. So there are regular verbs and irregular verbs. Regular verbs have that ed ending, like call, called, called. But irregular verbs are, is anyone familiar with the irregular verbs? Can you give me an example? Anyone? You can see, you can unmute yourself and speak, or you can put your answers in the chat box. Both are okay. Irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are like, suppose I say write. What should be the past form of write? All right, good. Ronak, you've given it in the chat box. Go, gone, went. It should be go, went, gone. So there's V1, V2, V3, V4. We put it this way. Go is the V1. That's the present form of the verb. Went is the past form of the verb. That's V2. Gone is the past participle form of the verb. That's V3. Going is the present participle form of the verb, or V4, any way we can say. So when we cannot say writed, we should be familiar with the past form of the verb, wrote. If we are not familiar with that, and like instead of teach, we put teached over there, or catched over there, obviously will go wrong. And then the negatives and the questions, negative, one of you gave that wrong example. Like you gave the correct example, but it was to show that how we can be wrong. I didn't saw it, something of that kind. Please write that sentence also in your notebooks. Later on, you only are going to correct it. So I didn't saw it is a wrong sentence. How can we correct such sentences? We're going to understand some tips and tricks. There's nothing so difficult about it. We just need to understand how certain things are said when we talk about the past. That's it. And then, of course, we have the conditionals also. If. Can anyone give me a sentence about the past using if? Yes, please.
I had my homework. I had my homework.
I had my homework, but use the word if. The word if. Give me a conditional. If. Anyone?
If I did not my homework.
If I did not. Yes, Yogesh? You'll have to unmute yourself. Okay. I was playing cricket. If you give me bowling. If I were a bird, I would fly. Good. But I was playing cricket. If you give me bowling, this is a wrong sentence. And note it down. And later on, you're going to correct it. We'll get back to all these. If I joined the class earlier, I would have understood clearly. Oh, please write down this sentence also. We're going to correct this sentence. So why it is wrong and what is wrong with it. We'll understand this. So this is English grammar is what? Just like the formulas that we have in mathematics.
Hello.
You just need to understand. Yes, go ahead.
I am Ananya. मैं कुछ बोलना चाहती हूँ.
Yes, बोलिए.
If I had done my homework yesterday, that teacher would not have given me the punishment in the class.
Okay, I'm typing it. Thank you for giving it. If I had done my
homework yesterday.
Homework yesterday. Just mute yourself if you have noise, or just take care of that. The teacher.
Okay.
Repeat the sentence. The teacher would not.
The teacher would not have given me the punishment in the class.
All right, everyone, please note down this sentence also. What is wrong with it? You're going to understand that. So this sentence is also wrong. We're going to understand today how to correct such errors. Another one, Ronak, you've given, you would have gotten hurt. Gotten is in American English. Get, got, gotten. British, we say get, got. You would have got hurt if I wasn't there. No, something needs to be corrected over there. What it is, we are going to understand today, right? Let's move on. And let me put... Yash Latikar, please put yourself on mute. I'm unable to do that. There's some background noise from your end. Thank you. Okay, so what is the present tense and how is it used? How do we use it correctly? Right? Let's understand that. So the past tense is a grammatical tense used to talk about the past. In the past, whatever happened in the past, whether it was a state or an action that we performed. For all such things, we use past tense, right? The past state, past habit, past hobby, past action. And typically, its forms is the verb only which changes, right? And typically, it's formed by adding ed to the base form of the verb. Not always, but typically it's formed that way. Like I noted it down in my notebook. I respected the person who walked in. So we just add ed over there. But when we have the irregular verbs, then in the irregular verbs, what do we use? We use the appropriate past form, like write, wrote. I wrote it yesterday. I wrote an essay yesterday. She said this to me. I did not say it. So when you use the word did, how we use it in the say form only, and she said it to me. I said this to him. So we, in the irregular verbs, it's not I said or I writed. The things
Recording
change.
in progress.
There are regular verbs and then there are irregular verbs. This is what we have to remember. There are many, many words. Irregular verbs are few, just about 100 plus, somewhere around 150. If you memorize them, the way we memorize other things, if you just memorize these, the list is available everywhere, in the dictionaries, on the internet, on our site, everywhere we have, in our grammar notes also we have. If you memorize just 10, the past forms of 10 words also every day, within 10 days, you'll have all these past forms on your fingertips. So we can do that. So let's move on and understand each now. Right? So this past tense, as I just told you, is used to talk about the past actions, events that occurred at a specific time in the past, at a specific time. If I say that my sister has gone, now there's no time, so I say my sister has gone. When, the moment I mention when, yesterday, in the morning, last week, then I use the past tense. My sister went in the morning. She went last week. So when you have this time mentioned, then you use the past tense, right? For example, here, yesterday, if yesterday is mentioned over here, then I walked. I walked to the store. Also, understand the pronunciation of the words. See, if I say I walked, see, it doesn't sound correctly. So you can note down that if you have a word, a verb that ends with k sound, it ends with k sound. So when you add ed to it, so we don't pronounce it as walked. It is not walked, it's walked. The dictionary also shows the pronunciation this way. It's walked. You have to sound over there. I'll give you another example. If the word ends with s sound and you add ed, word, I mean the verbs over here. For example, let's say missed. So I should not say I missed my bus in the morning. See how much of MTI is there, the mother tongue influence. When I say I missed my bus in the morning, fluency also gets affected. Instead, how should it be pronounced? I missed my bus in the morning. See the difference? I missed my bus and I missed my bus in the morning. So even in pronunciation, we need to be so careful. Another one can be when a word ends with f sound. GH also has f sound. For example, if I use the word laughed, laughed. So it's not, oh, everyone laughed at me when I said something funny, everyone laughed at me. No, everyone laughed at me. See how the pronunciation changes our fluency. Just note it down. So it's a rule you practice with 3 or 4 words every day, and within a week, that MTI will be taken care of, right? We also have it with the p sound. For instance, let's take one word. Maybe, you have a fight with someone and they say, oh, she slapped me. No, it's not she slapped me, but she slapped me. No, that way. So t sound is there. I'm just putting the sound over here, right? She slapped that way. So with the k sound, with the s sound, the f sound, with the p sound, if you have ed, the sound is of t when you talk about things in the past, right? So it's not walked, it's walked. It's not missed, it's missed. It's not loved, it's laughed. It's not slapped, mapped. It's not that, it's mapped, slapped. And when you have ch sound, right? We have ch also. You know, yesterday my friend came to the party in a new dress, and it was so good to see that she was so careful. You know, she matched everything, matched her accessories to what she was wearing. So matched. So again, we have the t ending. So just be careful with the pronunciation also, right? So yesterday I walked to the store. She went to the party last week, you know. So went, go, but then it is went. So for yesterday, it is went. Instead of study, studied. They studied for the exam all week. So again, we are talking about something that happened in the past. Something that happened in the past. When I was younger, I played soccer, I played football, I played volleyball, anything. When I was younger, when I was in my college. Well, when I was in the previous organization, and when I was in 10th standard, in IELTS, in speaking, you are asked such questions. So what was your favorite subject in your school days? Well, when I was in my 5th standard, my favorite subject was maths. But as I grew up and moved to 10th standard, then my favorite subject was science. I'm using was over here. It's the form of the verb be. I'm sure you must be familiar with the verb be, right? It has its forms. Present, the forms are is, am, are. And in the past, the forms are was, were. Like we say V2. So V2 for be is was or were. Okay, then she told me that she had already finished her work. So when you have to report something, you used, she told me, she said to me, all such things. He said he would call me later on. So you use these past forms when you report about some things, when you talk about a state, I was. So we are talking about a state in the past. We use the form of the verb be. And then for the events, for the actions, how we use the V2 form or the past form of the verb when we're talking about past. And then we have the other tenses also, like past perfect. She had already finished. So let's move on and understand the different variants of the past tense. The past simple, right? Some of you told me that it can also be called simple past, past continuous, past perfect, past progressive, past perfect progressive. Let's understand all these in detail. So simple past. When do we use simple past? And please remember, note down a few things. Ask me questions if you don't understand, because we have an exercise also based on it. You should be able to give me all correct answers then. So when do we use simple past tense? If you have to talk about a completed action in the past, event in the past, something that finished in the past. It's over. It happened in past time. Or a series of past events, like some of you entered the class, you noticed what was happening and then preferred to keep yourself on mute. So you entered, noticed, preferred, all in simple past, right? So it's a series of past events. Everything happened one after another. Or if you have to talk about past hobby, let me ask one of you to talk about your past hobby. Who all are there? Anyone who would like to talk about any past hobby? I just need 2 sentences. Yes.
I used to play cricket.
Oh, very good. You used to play cricket. Let's understand this used to also. Anything else that you would like to? I used to play cricket when? In your college days, in your school days, when?
In my school days.
So that has to be mentioned. Otherwise, the sentence does not convey the sense, right? I
Okay.
used to play cricket in my school days. Now, this creates a lot of confusion. Many people use this used to wrongly. They talk about present using used to. So remember, it is used to talk about past habit, past hobby, right? In my school days. The same thing can be put in a different way also. I played. So this is past tense. I played cricket in my school days. So when we talk about past event, you cannot use used to, right? You cannot say yesterday I used to go to the market. But if you have to talk about a past habit, past fact, then you can use used to. Used to is a model. We'll have a separate class on models, but used to is a model, and it can also be used to talk about past fact and past.
Chandrima, keep the phone down.
Just put yourself on mute, please. Alpsriv. Okay,
I'm
so I
sorry.
played cricket. It's okay. In my school days.
You had write to my.
Yes. Have you sent me any sentence? I love to eat chocolate, but I'm on dieting now, so I can't. Good one. So you've used both the tenses correctly. Very good example. You're talking about the past habit, then you're talking about present. So understand that when you talk about past hobby, the past fact, you can also use, let me just show. You can also use this subject. Soon after the subject, what do you put? You put used to. And after that, you put V1. So used to is a model. Like we have can, could, may, might. All these models are there. Used to is also a model. It can be used to talk about past facts, past habits, and then, of course, we use the simple past tense. So I used to play cricket in my school days. I used to be naughty in my childhood days, right? You can put it this way. Or I played cricket. Both mean the same thing. Both these sentences mean the same thing. I love to eat chocolate, but I'm on dieting now, so I can't. Good. They watched a movie last night, so we're talking about past only. It's a past event, past fact. We use this.
Ma'am, can I give a sentence?
Oh, yes, please go ahead.
I went to school by bus every day.
When?
Is it right?
Something is missing. Something is missing. You've put, I went to school.
By bus every day.
By bus every day. Something is missing. Remember when we use simple past tense, time. You have to mention when. When? I went to school by bus every day. When?
When I was a child.
When I was a child. Then the sense is complete, right? All of you, please remember, when you use simple past tense, mention the time, right? When I was a child. I went to school by bus every day when I was a child. Complete sense. So simple past, time is needed. When? Always try to answer this question. When? Yesterday, last year, in my childhood, in my previous organization, in my college days, when? So when you put that when, you use the simple past tense. Right, everyone? We can move on now?
Yes, ma'am.
Any question, any doubts? Okay.
No, ma'am, but can you write a rule for the tenses that you are explaining right now?
Sure, why not?
Ma'am, actually, go on when we use.
Okay.
When we
Although
are discussing
I'll be
third person.
explaining that later on, but if I don't give you some explanation now, it will keep on troubling you. So I'll just explain to you both the things. So first thing you asked me was to give you the rule for this simple past. So we use the subject. Whatever the subject is, I, you, he, she, everyone, whatever the subject is. And then we use this past form, that is V2, right? You can call it V2, or you can also call it the past form of the verb. Is the past form of the verb. And whatever you wish to put after that, because there are different types of sentences. Some sentences may require object, some sentences may require just an adjective. Yes, it was good. Was it good? Oh, yes, it was. It was good. Did you go there? Oh, yes, I went there. So you have I, subject, went is that V2, past form, there is the adverb. So I can't say that it can be subject, verb, and object. All sentences may not have object. So it can be the subject plus verb plus adjective, subject plus verb plus adverb, subject plus verb plus object. Right? She gave the gift to the beggar sitting on the road. So when we say she gave the gift to the beggar, so what kind of a sentence is that? She is the subject, gave is the verb, gave what? The gift. So the gift becomes the object. Right? So basic will be what? You have the subject plus V2, the past form. So this can be used for what? For past facts, past habits or routines, series of past events, one after another when the things happen. You use this. Past facts, past hobbies, past events, past any completed action in the past, series of past events. You can also use subject plus used to, as one of you gave that example, plus V1. When do we use this? This is used only for past, maybe routine, you can say, right? Hobby, we can say. So I'll just put routine, or it can also be for past fact. We do not use it for past events, past actions. Please remember that we do not use it
And
for past.
hobby also.
So routine covers everything, right? We can say
Okay.
hobby. I can mention that.
Ma'am, in case if a past sentence is
Mhm.
starting with the question.
So we'll move on
Then
to the questions. I'll be explaining that to you.
okay,
Remember,
okay.
some of you joined late. So in today's agenda, we have the questions, the negatives, and of course, all
Okay,
the
ma'am.
variants, right? We have
Okay,
all that. But one of you asked me this gone also. This also I'll be explaining. But let me just tell you, we have these forms of verbs. You have go, you have went, and then you have gone, right? The word gone, the past participle, we call it the past participle or V3. Remember, it's used with the perfect tenses: present perfect, past perfect, future perfect.
With have.
Has or have in present, she's gone, he's gone, right? With had in past. But when do we use that past perfect? I'll be explaining to you. So for the time being, is this much clear?
Yeah, actually, when we use used to for the hobby or the fact or routine, which are actually long ago, right? Not the
Earlier.
recent past times.
Or
Which-
past, do not use for present.
Yeah, which happened a long time ago.
Correct, absolutely right. Because for present, used to is used in a different way. In that, when you use it for present, then you always put the verb like I am. She is, like I am used to teaching online students now. I'm in the habit of something. So then you say, I am used to doing this. I'm used to writing such things. I'm used to explaining some things. So you're used to something. You're putting ing form of the verb. But when you talk about the past habit, the past fact, how do we put it? Soon after the subject, you put used to. I used to. In this case, soon after to, what do you put? You put V1. I used to play a lot in my childhood.
But in present, we will be using ing in the
But
verb.
in present, the meaning is also different. So in present, how do you use? You always put am, right? Or you say I'm used to. If I say I'm used to, I'm talking about something in the present only. I'm used to what?
Present hobby.
For example, when I came to this city, I used to be really scared of driving on the roads, but now I am used to driving on such, like I'm used to driving in the congested areas also. That means now I've got that habit, or I've got,
It is
I've got
must, right?
accustomed to it. Huh?
Yeah, it is must, right? We have to use ing in the present form.
If you
It
put,
is the must rule, right?
if you're putting like this, I am used to. Remember, you cannot say I used to driving. That is wrong.
Yeah, that will be go to past.
That is wrong, right?
Yeah.
Clear so far? You had some doubts. We can move on now.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I do have, sorry.
Yes.
Actually, ma'am, lot of like
Mhm.
if I say a sentence like she has gone,
Mhm.
so is it in past?
She's gone, right?
She has gone.
So I'll explain that only.
Yeah, exactly. Because if we are using has, have,
Remember,
like
this you did last week, right? Present. So let's understand this. Otherwise, confusion will be there. First of all, understand when we speak, in IELTS speaking also, use the pronunciation of the contracted form. So if while speaking in a conversation with someone, if I say, oh, she has gone, it's too formal. It's too formal. Then you use she's gone. How do we pronounce she's? He's.
she's gone. Yeah.
She's gone. That's the way we speak. Now she's gone when? Is when mentioned over here? Is when mentioned? Tell me.
She has gone yesterday. Yeah.
The moment you put yesterday, the sentence becomes wrong. The moment you say she's gone yesterday, your sentence is wrong. This is what you all need to understand. And this is why many working professionals at times have to lose their jobs also. I'll be frank, I interview so many people, right? They lose their jobs because the reporting is wrong. The managers get really irritated. They keep on reporting in the wrong tense. Oh, yesterday I have, this, I have met, I have done this. Why? If you're putting a specific time, use the simple past tense. She's gone yesterday? No. Then how should it be? She went yesterday.
Went yesterday.
You're putting the time. So what is the tip over here? What is the strategy, the trick to remember? When you put the time, you use simple past tense. Clear to everyone?
Yeah, actually, there was a rule that the last time the teacher told us that the present link presents with past.
Correct. Absolutely right. But
Then
when we
we'll use
talk about
has have.
something, right, when you talk, no, in that time is not mentioned, that yesterday, last year, that is not mentioned,
Yeah.
right? You cannot say, I have completed my graduation last year, I have completed my 10th standard last year. No. Right? I have appeared for this exam last month. No, I appeared for this exam last month. Okay, let's move on. Something very simple, but still I'll ask you. What are the past forms of these verbs? These are irregular verbs. You can put your answers in the chat box, or you can even unmute yourself. Both options are there. For B, what are the past forms?
Was, were,
Was, were.
had,
Was,
Were.
Had, did,
yeah, had,
Had.
Very good. Excellent. For do,
Did.
did.
did. For say,
Said.
Had.
fantastic. Said. And for go,
When.
all right. Get,
Get. Got.
got. For make,
Made.
Made.
all right. If you realize you've made a mistake, remember we make mistakes, huh?
Yeah.
So if you realize that you've made a mistake, then later
We're
on,
talking about past.
if there's a chocolate at home, don't have it, right?
Yeah.
That'll be the penalty for that. Come, what's the past form for come?
Came.
Good.
Came.
See,
See, saw.
So.
Saw and took.
saw. And take,
Took.
took. Okay, good. Now, I gave one sentence because some of you joined later on, but when we started, one of you gave me an example of the past tense and you said earlier, many doesn't know. Please correct this sentence now. Who was the one who
Many
gave me
didn't
this?
know about homeopathy.
Very good. So we cannot say earlier, many doesn't know. It should be earlier, many didn't
Did
know.
not.
Right? Does is for present. Do, does, I do, she does, that way. So earlier, many didn't. We cannot say many doesn't know. And now people came to know, people have come to know, right? Now people have come to know. Where's the which? Right, good. Excellent. This was good. Let's move on. Past continuous or past progressive. At this, what were you doing at this time yesterday? If I may ask one of you, Vishal. You've got Rana, Vishal. Yes, Vishal. What were you doing at this time yesterday?
This time, yesterday, I was praying.
You were praying at this time yesterday. All right. And let me ask one more. Tommy, what were you doing at this time yesterday? You can even write down in the chat box.
There's a blowing sound coming from someone's mic.
Yes. Someone must be quite close to the mic. You can just take care of that. I need one more. Okay, we got something in the chat box. I caught cold yesterday at it was freezing. Okay, you caught cold. What were you doing at this time? I cannot say at this time you caught cold. No? It's not that at a particular time only you catch. What were you doing at this time?
I was attending my IELTS class.
Oh, you were attending your IELTS class. And you had the AC on, so you caught cold, right? Another one I've got, I was making dal. Okay, I was attending class. I was trying to cook. I was
doing my homework.
Perfect, excellent. Oh, so you all are familiar with this past continuous tense. Excellent. So let's look at it. So how do we use it? You put the subject. How is it formed? By using was or were plus verb with ing form, right? I was walking to the store. She was eating breakfast. See, present continuous, you put is MR. Past continuous, the helping verb. Be is the helping verb, the auxiliary. You put it's was and were. So remember, be verb it's so useful. It's a useful tool for us. You can use it in so many ways as the main verb also and as the helping verb also. So there are three verbs which are really helpful. Be, have, do. We should know how to use them correctly. So I was walking to the store when it started raining. So we have was walking at what time? When it started raining, right? She was eating breakfast when I arrived. You see now this part is in simple past tense. They were watching a movie when I called. Have you understood? So when you entered the class, what were we doing? What were we discussing? I was writing an essay at this time. Okay, right. You can just think in your mind. What were we doing? What were we discussing when you entered the class? Can anyone tell me? Anyone who joined the class a little late?
Yes.
What were we doing?
Something about past tense. You were asking about the past tense words.
Excellent, excellent. You were asking about the past tense. Very good. Absolutely right. Good. So let's have an exercise now. You can give me your answers in the chat box or you can unmute. Let me ask you. Go through these sentences.
Ma'am, please ask one by one because it will be a mess.
Yeah, ma'am,
please.
please. Yeah.
I know. I'll call out your names, right? Randomly, whichever name I see in front of me, I'll call out the names. You can go through the sentences, keep your answers ready. So the verb forms, the V1, the present form of the verb is in the parentheses, the brackets. So you have to mention whether the simple past or past continuous, how it's to be used. So let me ask Praduman. Yes, Praduman, unmute yourself and answer the first one, please. I'll give you all a few seconds, then I'll move on to the next one. Ramanujam?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead.
Yesterday, I was working on my project all day. Past continuous.
Okay. Is she correct?
Ma'am, yesterday I worked on my project all day. Simple past. Okay.
So interesting. I've got two answers and both are correct. Both are correct. Only the meaning is different, slightly different. Let's understand. When we say yesterday, I worked on my project all day, that means this thing was completed yesterday. We are talking about something that was completed yesterday. Yesterday, I worked on my project all day. When we say yesterday, I was working on my project all day, that means this activity, probably this work is not over even now. This activity was in progress the whole day. So just slight meaning difference can be there in the meaning. Otherwise, both can be correct, right? Let's move on to the next one. Last night. So last night, we've got, okay. If she could let me ask someone else. Yes, Maheshwari, last night? Maheshwari?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, last night
Last night I watched a movie with my friends.
Good, I watched. Last night I watched a movie with my friends. Right. The next one, Mansia. Mansia, you'll have to unmute yourself. Let me see in the chat box. Also.
Yeah. While I was driving to work this morning.
Correct. So Praduman has also sent it there. While I was driving. Okay, one more thing. Regarding pronunciation, I shared a rule with you all earlier. That is how that ED becomes ch sound. For G also, in English, it's sound. So while I was driving, so it's not driving. There's a difference in driving and driving, ing sound. So while I was driving to work, pronunciation is that I can't change it. So there's no accent in it. This is the way the word is pronounced. Okay, good. While I was driving to work this morning, I saw an accident. Very good. The next one, let me ask somebody else. She dash. Yes, Lynn? She dash breakfast.
Yes, she ate.
She
ate breakfast.
Okay, now you gave me this answer, 8. Is this correct, everybody?
No,
She ate. She ate.
So this S should not be there, correct?
Yes.
So the answer should be 8.
She ate.
S sound should not be there, huh? She ate. Present, she eats breakfast daily at 7 a.m. But then she ate. Huh? She ate. Okay. We dashed for the exam for 3 hours last night. For 3 hours. Huh? We are talking about the duration. Neeraj?
Studied.
Okay, we studied. Can we have some other answer also for this?
She was studying for the
We were studying.
We were studying for the exam.
For the exam for 3 hours last night.
Very good. Very good. Both answers are correct. Again, that slight difference in meaning, right? We were studying for the exam for 3 hours last night. You don't know we were studying. No, hum 3 ghante pad rahe the, if I were to put it in Hindi, right? So we studied for the exam for 3 hours last night. So both can be correct. Right? We studied. Both. Is this clear to everybody? The difference between the simple past and past continuous, are both types of tenses clear to everyone? Any doubt, any questions you have?
Do we have any exceptions regarding past tense?
Do we have any exceptions? What kind of exceptions? Tell me.
Like when using of the verbs.
Using of the verbs. Like, well, those exceptions are there whether they are in present or past. For example, you cannot say, oh, yes, I was knowing about it. This is a common mistake which I've heard. I was knowing about it. Oh, yes, I was knowing about it. So you should not say I was knowing about it. What should you say?
I was known to this.
No.
I knew it.
I knew about
I
it.
knew it. I knew about it.
Oh,
So that
okay,
means,
knew. Yeah.
verbs of perception, right? Verbs of perception, verbs of senses. Oh, it was tasting good. No. What should it be?
Tasted good.
It tasted good.
Taste good.
Same is the case in the present also. Verbs of perception, verbs of senses should not be used in continuous tense, right? The meaning is different. When if I tell someone, you don't know, yesterday I went to the doctor, I was hearing different sounds all the time. I was hearing, that means all the time it was a non-stop kind of thing. But
I heard sound
that something was wrong, right? Something was wrong. It was disease then. Something was wrong. So the meaning changes, everything changes then. So verbs of perception, senses, be very careful. So common mistake, this knowing is a common mistake. Let's move on. Shall I? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So past perfect, there are two more left now. And then of course we move to the negatives and the questions. So past perfect. So we Indians are in the habit of using past perfect even for single events. Oh, yesterday I had gone to the market. Wrong. How do we use past perfect? You put had plus the past participle form or the V3, like gone, But when do we use it? Understanding of that is important. So it's used to describe an action that was completed before another past action or event. So remember, we are talking about two events over here. IELTS students, if you are IELTS academic student, you get those charts. Suppose two things are shown over there, one of 1950, another of 1990. So by 1990, something had changed, right? Something had changed. That's the way it should be. Something had happened, something had changed. Something had moved by a certain time, before a certain time. So let's see now how we have it. So we use had, and we use past participle form of the verb, like go, went, gone, right? Write, wrote, written. So written is the past participle form of the verb. So I had walked to the store before it started raining. So remember, two things happened, walked and started. What happened first? You walked first. So I had walked to the store before it started to rain. Then here again, she ate breakfast. Let's look at this. Just let's. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So she had already eaten breakfast by the time I arrived. They had finished watching the movie before I called. So had finished and called. So I called and they finished. What happened first? They finished watching the movie first. So we put that part in past perfect tense. So two things happened, the first event and the second event. So the first event you put in past perfect tense. Second event you put in simple past tense. Will you remember this trick? The first event, so when do we use past perfect tense? We use it at one or two other places also. I'll explain that to you. But when we talk about the past events, remember when we talk about the past events, when do we use it? When we are talking about two events, the first and the second. We are not talking about a series of past events. We're talking about two events where there was some time gap. For the first event, you use the past perfect. For the second event, you use the simple past. For example, let's take an example that yesterday I had to go to Delhi, right? But I missed my train. So two things happened. I reached the station, the train left. What happened first? What do you think happened first? Because
the train left first and then you reached the station.
How should I talk about it, or how should I write about it?
I missed the train when I had reached the station.
What happened first? You reached first or the train left first?
The train left first.
So that part should be in past perfect, right? So the
Okay,
train, come on, help me to complete it. The train.
The train
had left the station before I
yeah,
reached.
had left the station before I reached.
Very good. Had left the station before I reached there.
I arrived.
I reached there, right? Okay, I had eaten my dinner before my friend arrived at my place, right? So the train had left the station before I reached there. Will you be able to remember this simple rule? Two actions of the past. For the first one, use past perfect. For the second one, we use simple past.
I have a query right now.
Yes, please ask. Why not?
In the first example that you're showing to us, I had walked to the store before it started to rain. It might also be correct if I change it to I had walked to the store before it started raining.
Yes, that's also correct. That's also correct. Why is it correct? I understand. It started to rain. It started raining. Remember, verbs are so interesting. That's an interesting part of speech. Verb can be used as noun, verb, adjective, adverb. See, it can be used like that. So it started what? It started to rain. It started what? It started raining. Right? So we can say it started to rain, it started raining. Both can be used in grammar. We'll have a separate webinar on these. We call them infinitives or gerunds. I'm sure you must have heard about them. Very soon we'll have a webinar. So it started raining, it started to rain. Both are correct. I wouldn't like to take you in that direction of gerunds and infinitives now. We'll have a separate webinar on it. But have you understood?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ask me.
Ma'am, the last sentence, can I use the sentence even without had one? No? They finished watching the movie before I called. That doesn't too much change with the tense, right?
Yes, you can. Only the meaning will change slightly. You can. Suppose you are talking about a series of past actions. One thing happened after another. Then you put it this way. They finished watching the movie before I called. One after another they happened. If there was a slight gap, right, they had finished watching the movie before I called. Could be 1 hour earlier, right? Could be 2 hours earlier. So that slight difference in the meaning is there. Clear to you?
Or we can use just also. They just finished watching the movie before I called.
They had just
They had
finished.
just. Okay.
Yes. We can move on now to the next one. Clear to everybody?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, let's do this now. Let me ask you, you can put your answers in the chat box too. Let me go to those names. Yes, Ravinder, the first one.
I had finished my homework when I went to bed.
Perfect. After I had finished my homework, I went to bed. And same rule, what I told you earlier, after I finished my homework, that's also correct. After I had finished, but here it's definitely, we know that there is some gap. There's some gap. It's not a series of past events we are talking about. So it should be after I had finished my homework. After I had finished my homework. Next one, Piyush. Good.
She had left for work before I woke up this morning.
Right. She had left. Okay, the next one. They, Pimal.
They had already eaten lunch before we arrived.
Very good. We had already eaten. We can also say they had already had. For eat, you can use the verb have also. You have food, you eat food. So they had already eaten, they had already had. Okay, the next one, let me ask somebody else. Shavani?
Yeah.
Yes.
They already had lunch before we arrived. Is that
No.
also?
No.
Okay.
They had already eaten.
No, if we just remove eaten, we can shift had after already. They already had lunch before we arrived.
No.
It is also wrong.
Yes, that'll be wrong. They already had lunch before we arrived. We are talking about two events, right?
Yeah.
So we cannot put it that way. The next one, Suraj.
I had met my best friend in college.
Right. Give me the different forms of the verb meet. Meet, what's the past form?
Meet, M-E-T, M-E-T.
No. Somebody else? Anyone who can give me the correct ones?
Met.
Met.
Yeah.
You can just put yourself on mute, huh? Met. So what should I put? I?
M-E-T, met.
I had met.
Ma'am, I also tell same. Meet,
You also said the same thing. Good.
But
Very good.
pronunciation was not right.
Yeah, my pronunciation is different. Maybe.
No problem. I heard meet, huh? I heard meet. So I met my best friend in college. So maybe you said it correctly from your side. Sometimes in this online thing, sometimes probably the other person may hear it that way. So it's okay. If you feel you said met, then it's correct, right? So meet, met, past form. So I met my best friend in college. Then last one, he, and yes, let's have, we've got Balaji.
He had already started the car before he got home.
Very good. Clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Past perfect. Okay, past perfect is also used in that reported speech. You all know about the reported speech, right? Suppose somebody says that maybe the person says, I finished my homework. He says to his friend, I finished. Yes.
He had already. After that, started. Yeah,
started. We need to.
Started.
Good, thank you. He had already started. So when you report something of simple past tense, you change that to past perfect. Like somebody says, I ate my dinner before you came. So he told me that he had eaten his dinner. Right? So we'll do this when we have something on just the reported speech. We'll go more into the details of that. Remember, past perfect, when do we use? We do not use it for single event. We use it for an event that happened before another one in the past. It was completed before another one in the past. Then we use it. Clear to everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Common
Yes, ma'am.
mistakes.
Yes.
These were the ones which were discussed earlier also before many of you joined us. So incorrect verb form, where you are supposed to use the, like maybe you are supposed to use wrote, you use righted. So that kind of mistakes are there. Incorrect verb tense is there, where past tense is to be used, the present is used, where simple past, then present perfect. That way, overusing the past perfect tense, which is a tendency of most of us. For single event, also we keep on using the past perfect tense. So this is because most of us are in that habit. So we need to check ourselves. Incorrect use of irregular verbs. So as I told you that teached that way, or put it. So we if you do not know the correct form of the irregular verb in the past, then you tend to just add ed to it, which turns out to be wrong. So how do we form questions? And this was a question in between. How do we form questions and negatives in the past tense? So to form questions, simple rule. Again, just remember the technique of doing that. That's it. Auxiliary verbs. In the past, we are talking about the past. So in the past, did can be used, was or were. So did is the form of the verb do, and was and were are the past forms of the verb be. So first you use any of these, then you put the subject, then you put the base form of the main verb. Did. See now see the word did over here? Then we have the subject, did you? And then we have the verb. Did you eat breakfast this morning? So we cannot say, did you eat breakfast this morning? Did you eat breakfast this morning? Look at the next one. Were they at the party last night? Were they at the party last night? Were they there? Was
B, ma'am. B.
Yes, sorry?
What they at the party last night? Who is the verb here?
Were they look at this sentence, they were at the party last night. How do you ask a question? They were oh yes, they were at the party last night. Were they at the party last night? So we're using the word were to ask the question. What he was happy. Was he happy?
Okay.
This is the verb. See, was and were can be used as the main verbs also. They can be used as the helping verbs also.
And basically, I find the main verb after subject.
If you are using did you eat?
Yeah, it is a main verb. Fine,
Right.
I understand.
But I cannot say, I cannot say, was he eat or were you eat? We cannot say that, right? Were you happy? Like what kind of sentences will you ask questions over here? If was he happy? So let's look at the sentence. He was happy. How will you ask the question for this? He was happy. What's the verb over here? Was is the verb. But while asking the question, you put it at the beginning. Was he happy? Right? Look at the next one. They were at the party, right? This is the way the sentence is. They were at the party. So how do you ask the question? Were they at the party? Right? But if I just use if I use do over here, did, right? Did they attend the party? Look at this now. We have the action verb over here, right? They attended the party. How do we frame the question for this? Then we use the form of the verb do, did. Did they attend? Did they attend the party, right? This is what we do then. Have you understood?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's look at some negatives also. I have something in the chat box too. Was he drive the car? Oh no, this is wrong. How should be? So it becomes the helping verb when you have the continuous tense.
Did he drive the car?
No, but if you're talking about an action that was in progress, how will you put it? Let us help her. We need to correct this sentence. Come on, correct it. Was he drive the car is wrong.
Did he drive?
Driving the car?
Was it? Oh,
Yeah,
very good.
Did.
So one is, was he driving the car?
Driving the
Was he driving the car? When they met with the accent, was he driving the car? And this has a different meaning when you put it this way. Did he drive the car? Did he drive the car yesterday? Did he drive the car?
Ma'am, can I like use the sentences? Didn't he drive the car?
Didn't he? So that's negative. We are just
It's
moving
a
on.
negative, yeah.
And absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Is this much clear to everybody? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine,
Yes.
let's move on then. Right, let's look at the negatives. To form negatives, we put did and then the base form of the verb. Common mistake. Common mistake is, did he knew about it? Come on, correct this. Did he knew about it?
Did he know
about it?
Very good. Did he know about it? So she didn't go to the concert last night. You see now how she didn't go. We put go. They did not finish. They did not finish, or they didn't finish. So it's not they did not finished. He didn't enjoy. We cannot say he didn't enjoy it. He didn't enjoy it. So what do you have to remember? When you use do, did, does, all these verbs, do, does are in present. Past, it's did. So let's talk about the past. So when you use this did in the past to talk about anything in negative, to ask a question, the main verb is put in its present form, the base form, right? So he didn't enjoy the movie very much. Let's look at B, as I told you, some, the B verbs and some models do not require an auxiliary verb to form negatives. They do not require the auxiliary verb. Which verb? The helping verb with them. Were you there? Oh no, I wasn't there. So how do we put it? I wasn't there. It does not require another helping verb, right? I wasn't there. Now let's look at for example, let's look at the verb could. Oh, I couldn't. Because the model itself is a helping verb. So you just put couldn't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't help her, right? You shouldn't go there. So you just put not after them. You should not do it. You should not go there. That's the way you make. But in the past, if you have to use, this is the way it is. Clear to everybody? Any doubts? Any question?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, how do we use have in the negatives or in the questions?
Have you understood? Haven't you understood?
It's a present, but past tense we
Present.
use had.
Hadn't he, right? Hadn't he heard his teacher that he behaved in that way? Hadn't he finished his work before going up, right? Something like that. Use that.
Okay.
Let's look at the conditionals. If hypothetical situations. So there are 4 conditionals. We can say 0 conditional, the first, the second, the third. We'll not talk about the 0 in the first one. They're all in present tense, right? Let's talk about the ones where we use the past tenses. So one is we use simple past after if. How do we have the sentence there? If I had more money, I would buy a car. Now tell me, I'm talking about past or present over here?
Past.
Future.
Past, ma'am.
We are talking about past.
Okay. Many of you understand Hindi, I think. If I put it this way, अगर मेरे
Yes.
पास और पैसे होते तो मैं कार खरीद लेती. This kind of a sentence. Am I talking about past?
Yes,
No.
ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are talking about the past because if
Past.
you would have, then you would have buy the car.
No. आज अगर मेरे पास और पैसे होते तो मैं खरीद लेती.
It is present.
Present.
Right? नहीं है तो मैं नहीं खरीद सकती हूँ. That kind of a thing. So if I had more money, I would buy a new car. It's an unreal situation in the present, but with a past tense verb form. For example, right?
Ma'am, would is the past form of the will?
It is representing that if I had.
Would. That would be
Would, yes.
Will, would. So if I had more money, I would buy a new car. What are we using over here? We are using would.
Would, yeah.
The main clause. If I had more money, if I see in these beauty pageants, the questions are asked like this only. They're all hypothetical. Okay, if you got a chance to go to the moon, whom would you take with you? So how is the question? If you got a chance, so that's in past, right? अगर आपको chance मिल जाए तो, that kind of a thing. If you got a chance to go to the moon, whom would you take with you? I would take this one, I would take that one, right? How the question is asked? If I won 1 crore today in a lottery, I would do this. I would do that. I would
go
buy
to the
this.
world tour.
I would what?
I would go to world tour.
Right. If I got a chance, if I became this. Have you all understood how we have this hypothetical one? Think how you put the same things in your own language. अगर ये हो जाए तो, अगर मुझे ये मिल जाए तो. Clear to everybody? Any question over here? Any doubt? Am I audible?
Can you go back to the last slide?
The last slide, there's a doubt regarding that. Yes.
Actually, I missed the did not and didn't part. Can you explain that to me again?
Did not and didn't. You did not do it, you didn't do it. So you can just put didn't also in place of did not. So when you say I did not do it, whenever you use the verb did as the helping verb,
Ma'am,
main
can
verb
you
is always
use short form in IELTS exam? I think it's not
IELTS, or in IELTS only if you are writing an informal letter in general training or in your speaking, the pronunciation of because speaking is a conversation you have with your exam. Then you use that pronunciation. So instead of saying I did not do it in my school days, you should say I didn't do it in my school days.
It means we can only use for speaking.
Speaking if you are an academic student.
Okay, ma'am, fine.
Right. So far clear to everybody? Let's move on to this. There's another condition. It's all about past. Don't we regret at times? We feel sorry. Oh, I didn't do this. I didn't get a chance to do this. You're talking about past. So here we have past perfect tense. We have past perfect tense over here. If I had studied harder, I would have passed. We're talking about past.
Ma'am, what is the role of here is would?
Sorry?
Would. I am confused in the would.
I would.
Yes.
Hypothetical situation. Hypothetical situations, we use would in such cases. Like I would have passed the exam. I would have done this. If you had told me earlier, I would have helped you. Common mistake is what? Let me tell you, common mistake which people make is if you would have told me earlier. So this is wrong. In the if clause, we do not use would, right? If you would have told me earlier is wrong. This is a wrong sentence. I would have helped you. This is wrong. Now help me to correct it. अगर मुझे पहले बता दिया होता तो मैं help कर देती.
If you have told me earlier, I would have helped you.
Very good.
Yeah, if you had told me, you had helped me.
Perfect, excellent. So in the main clause in conditionals, in these hypothetical conditionals, we use would. I would have helped. But then since you did not tell me, I did not help you, right? So we are talking about something that was not done in the past. Why? Because a condition wasn't. That's why. Let's look at an exercise and understand it. Let me see if all of you have understood. Okay, for the first one, if I
Had one.
all right, if I had one, very good. If I had one. Let me wait. Let me ask you one by one. Shruti?
Yes, ma'am.
Second one, if I
had more
Good.
time, I would go to the gym.
Correct. But I don't have time, so I cannot go, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Next
For
one.
that sentence, I can also use I have no, ma'am. If I have more time, I would go to the gym.
No, then you'll say I will go to the, if then it's a real conditional. See, if I have more time, I will definitely go there. Real conditional, but I can't go. But when you are like hypothetically, if you talk about something, see, if I had more time, I would go. So remember the usage. If when you say if I have, then instead of would, you're going to use will. That difference is there. And it becomes a real conditional. Okay, Vijay, the next one.
If I had studied harder.
Good. Oh, very good. If he had studied harder, he would have passed the exam. Correct. Upasana, the next one. Yes, Upasana. Oh, Upasana. Okay. Anyone who would like to answer? The next one, Neeraj.
If they knew, knew the truth.
If they had known the truth, they would have been more careful.
Yeah.
Very good.
Had none.
Very good. The next one. If she
had enough money.
Oh, good. This is good. If she had had enough money, she would have traveled the world. But she didn't have, so she didn't. The last one. If I
Why not use in
Was.
second
Sorry?
second statement. Second, if I have more time, why not use it in here had?
Because had is the past form of the verb have, and the first had is the helping verb. So if I had had more enough money, right?
No, I am talking in
आपने
second one.
Second, because after would we do not put had. After would it is always the present form of the verb.
Not.
After models, would, could, can, could, any model, we always use the present form. So we
Ma'am,
can.
he is asking that why in second sentence we have not
Second
used
sentence
the
not
had.
used in had.
आपने दो बार had लिख दिया ना तो इस पर मैं कंफ्यूज हो गई.
All right, I'll explain to you then.
Second sentence
is
yes.
See the conditional over here. I would go to the gym. We are talking about the future possibility. So if I had more time, I would go to the gym. But I don't have time, present. I don't have time, so I cannot go to the gym. Understand the difference in the meaning. Here, it is she would have traveled the world. We are talking about something in the past.
Okay, fine.
See the difference?
Second is events. Second events is also using past tense.
Second past tense you're using because it's a hypothetical conditional, but you're referring to future time. It's a present situation. What's your present situation? You don't have time. So you cannot go to the gym. If you had time, you would go to the gym. Now let's look at past. Maybe earlier you're talking about past time, right? I could not travel the world. Why? Because I did not have enough money. If I had had enough money, I would have traveled the world. Is it clear?
Can't we use a single had here? If she had enough money, she would
Then the
have
whole
traveled
thing,
the
then
world.
you cannot say she would have traveled. Then she would travel the world. If she had money, she would travel.
It's a very confusing sentence.
A confusing sentence. Are we talking about past or present? Understand this. Past में कोई चीज नहीं हुई, past something did not happen, or you are talking about present something is not there. Accordingly, you make the
तो
sentence.
मैम as per you it means दोनों जो दोनों events है मतलब past में होना चाहिए.
Yes. This
That
is
time we are
something that,
used. Yeah, that time we are using a she had.
yes, correct. Because
Okay.
something did not happen in the past. Hui nahi, right? It did not
Okay.
happen.
Ma'am, the first had having different meaning or it's the only verb?
It's just the verb. If I
Okay.
had more time, I can
No,
also
ma'am.
say,
In the last sentence, you used two had. So the first had having any different meaning, or
no,
it's the
the
only verb?
first had is the helping verb, past, because this is
Okay,
past perfect tense. And here we are using only simple past tense.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now the last sentence, can you all give me the last one before we end?
If I had if
I had a magician,
no.
I would change this into a cat.
If I was
If
If
I
I
was
was
a
magician.
yes.
magician,
If
The
I
verb
was
is
a magician.
if
very
I
good. Very
were,
good. So
yes,
when we wish something like that, right?
were,
Whenever
yeah,
we
I
wish,
now,
we use word with all the subjects.
yeah.
If
Now,
if I were the prime minister of this country, I would do this, I would do that, right?
ma'am, it means whenever I used that time, we also keep in mind in second events will be past that time.
Not past, remember the word would. We'll use would then, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So IELTS or any other conversation also, the mistake that is made is here you use past and then at this place, if you use will, it'll be wrong. Let me just bring this here. So if you use will over here, like here, if it is will go, then it should be in present. If I have more time, I will go. If I have this, I will do that. If I work hard, I will get good marks. If I worked hard, I would get. If you're talking about past, maybe you did not get good marks. Or if I had worked hard, I would have got good marks. I did not work hard, so I did not get. You see the difference in the conditionals? अगर ऐसा किया तो
would
ऐसा हो.
we are using by when we are using when we talking about past, by that time we are using would.
So one is we are talking about past, right? Something did not happen in the past, so you're using would. Another is hypothetically you're talking about a present situation, right? Hypothetically you're talking about it. If I won a lottery today, what would I do? I would throw a party, right? I would go out, celebrate. That's how it is.
I mean, the second sentence, if it will be, if I had more time, I would have.
No. In the second one, if you put have, if you're talking about present, then here it will be will. Then it will be will. So we are not talking about the present one today. Then it will be will. If I have more time, I will go there.
No, I was about to ask that I would have went to the gym. Yeah,
No, that is wrong.
Sorry,
That's
gone to the gym.
absolutely wrong, right? That's absolutely wrong.
No, but I can say the second sentence like, if I had more time, I would have gone to the gym.
Very good. Then you're talking about a past thing, something that did not happen in the past, right? It did not happen. You did not go to the gym. Why did you not go to the gym? Because you did not have time. Now here you are just talking about the past. So if you are not an enrolled student with us, you can always write to maya@yunolearning.com for any queries. Now, do you have any questions? Anyone? How was it? Did you all understand? I hope you all learned.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, one of you was about to ask me something.
Yes, ma'am. That last second one, if only one had, is it okay? Like if she had enough money, she would have traveled.
No, then it's not. It's like this. Let me give you another example then. If I had eaten my food on time, I would have been healthier. Right? We're talking about, if you know, in my college days, I was not all that healthy. I never ate my food on time. You see, college, that's the way the things are. Sometimes we eat at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock at night. So I was not healthy. I did not have good health in my college days. But yes, if I had eaten my food on time, I would have been healthier. This much understood by everybody? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I understand, ma'am.
Now wait,
I
wait,
have
wait.
one
Hold on,
question
hold on.
also.
Wait, let me finish, huh? We can use the verb have also in place of eat. You have your food, you eat your food. So similarly, now I'm going to replace this word eaten with had. Now look at it. If I had had my food on time, I would have been healthier.
Okay.
Is it clear now? Right? In my college days, I wasn't all that healthy because I did not eat my food on time. If I had eaten it on time, then I would have been healthier. If I had had my food on time, I would have been healthier. Understood?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Ma'am,
Perfect.
now I have one question.
Yes.
Second event, I would have been healthier. In here, all time we are using would. It's a by default we can use would.
So in the hypothetical situations, in the conditionals, we are talking about conditionals, right? Whenever you have sentences with if, and if you're talking about past, if you're talking about past or present hypothetical, you use would over here, right?
Okay, fine. It's a new sentence for me. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining. I hope you all learned and all your queries have been taken care of, right? Still, if you have questions, you can always post your questions to me. Yes?
Ma'am, so as you said that the short forms don't. So while we are giving IELTS exam, in the speaking test, we can use those words. But in writing, we cannot, or
you should not. Why you should not? Because there's a formal writing. When you write an essay, it's not informal, it's formal.
Okay.
Right? When you write a report in writing task 1 of academic, that's also formal. Okay. In IELTS general training, you can get a formal letter, an informal letter, or a semi-formal letter. So an informal letter you can use. Speaking is a conversation, right? It's a conversation. In a conversation, you should use the pronunciation of the contacted forms.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. All the best, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a nice day. Bye. Take care.